so everybody's on. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start as usual with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. All right, so hopefully we're going to have a fairly short meeting tonight. We will start as usual by reviewing and signing payroll and accounts payable. For the period ending 1/24/25, we had payroll in the amount of $44,185.17. We had accounts payable in the amount of $65,112.51. We did not have any school or retirement payments. John said he'll be here in a minute. He's having tech issues.
Do that before public comment.
Next, I'll take a motion to review and approve the consent agenda.
Moved.
Second, but I'd like to amend the correction of the spelling of Jim Burlow's last name.
Oh, okay. Yep. Do you have that correction on there?
I wrote it on there.
On the, oh.
On whichever
It's over here. Any other corrections or changes? Included in tonight's consent agenda are non-public minutes from 1:14, which are sealed, public minutes from 1:14, the rec manifest and building permits. And I do see, so that change on page 2 as amended of the spelling.
Well, and wherever his name is in
Yeah.
the document.
Yep.
I'm assuming it's the same.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Oh,
There's at
John's here.
least one more. She can check that. So we have a motion. Did we have a second? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I second.
Yes, yes. Any further discussion about the consent agenda?
You're not in my meeting.
I'm not in your meeting.
I don't know what meeting you're in, but it's not my meeting. It's not
Okay.
my meeting.
Well, we'll give it a minute. All in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
As amended.
Andy?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so we will pass that. Let's give John
There you
a
go.
second. There we go. That looks like the right one.
I'm leaving.
All right, so he said he's having tech issues, but we'll jump on. So as soon as he jumps on, I'll take a motion to allow him to participate remotely. So we'll
Moved.
just give him a second. We can do it now?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Is there a second
No,
to
'cause
let
then we
John
have to take
participate
roll call
remotely?
votes even if he's not here.
No, we don't.
Oh, okay.
Not until he's actually
Second.
participating.
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
I'm-
he's here.
I'm here.
All right.
I'm just going to be on audio just because of the technical issues.
Okay, audio only. Okay, great. So we have a motion and a second to allow John to participate remotely. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Yep, thank you. So John's remote. We will have to do all votes by roll call because of having a remote member. Most important and wonderful action item I'm going to move up before public comment is Andrea is here with us tonight, our new town administrator. We're very happy to have her here. I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know if you want to say anything or if you just want
Excited
to.
to work with the board and the employees and
Awesome.
the residents. And
Awesome. Good.
Thank you.
Good. We're very happy. Anybody can come in and say hi to her. Just give her a week or two to settle in. She's just getting her feet wet, so don't ask her anything too mind-bending until she gets her feet wet. But we're all really, really happy to have her here and really looking forward already. I think you've had some ideas about like, well, could we do this differently? Could we do this a little bit differently? And I think that over the coming weeks and months, we'll probably talk about maybe some changes in how we do things that might work better for everybody. Great. Okay. Thank you. All right. So now we will move on to public comment, and we will open public comment at 6:05 p.m. Please remember, as usual, to come up and use one of the microphones and state your name and street.
Liz Furia, South Road. Can you specify a little more what the payroll of 44 was for? Was there overtime? Was there, I mean, we still don't have a chief, it's a little high.
Jillian, can you comment on that? There was quite a bit of police overtime. I think that might have been for a training that a bunch of the officers did. I believe is probably why it's high this year.
Justin's still
This
here.
week.
Justin's,
Hey, Justin?
Lieutenant, we need you.
That's okay.
I
Why
can
was
hear
there
you
so
coming.
much police overtime?
Police overtime was a little high this week. Was that training related? Training related. Okay, thank you.
Oh yeah, you posted that picture. Somebody posted a picture.
Yeah, it was on Facebook.
So it was 6 hours, did you say?
No, Sig Sauer.
Oh,
Sig
Sauer.
Sauer.
Sorry. Do you know how many hours of overtime it was?
Liz, public comments for public comment. If you have questions like that, you can ask the lieutenant anytime.
Okay.
Thank you.
One other question. This is also a question. I don't know if you can answer it. What is the procedure to unseal meeting minutes? It's something after 10 years, you review them or something?
So yes, actually, Andrew and I were just talking about that today. There was a new RSA that, was it a year ago or 18 months ago?
Yeah, because
Last session, maybe?
I voted, so
Yeah, so maybe it was in the last year that the New Hampshire legislator passed some new registration or legislation that we're going to have to look back and decide to either review and reseal minutes or review and unseal minutes. There was a buffer given of like, I think 10 years before that had to go live. So we had sort of paused that. And now that we have our new town administrator, we'll take that back up. But there is new legislation that we have to go all the way back through all sealed minutes and make a overt decision to reseal or unseal all of those.
So do you start at 11 years back or 10 years back?
I think so, it was a little bit confusing. I remember us all discussing it as a board and trying to figure out with legal counsel exactly. And there was multiple different ways to do it. You could make a town policy, or you could do a sort of a rolling review of different years. And so I think we just need to, once all the budget season settles, we can bring that issue back up this summer. But I think most towns have made policies where they review how they're going to do it.
Okay, and since it seems a little weird because none of you are here except for Andy, so you all.
Correct.
Like it,
I think that's true of all towns. You'll be
Yeah.
reviewing. And a lot of things, if it's about real estate transactions or,
they
you
already
know,
have
other
to, so-
like stuff that needed to be sealed at the time clearly no longer does. If it's something reputational, I think that's more likely to probably remain sealed unless, you know, those people have all passed away and nobody lives here anymore. But I think those are all decisions that the board will have to make, or
Okay, and the
subsequent boards.
final, I'm not sure about this, but the final thing is if somebody's reputation that's not, you know, in the town offices or whatever, like a member of the public, the reputation is discussed in non-public, that person has a right to be here, right?
I don't
Like a jury
believe
of
that
your
is
peers.
true. No, if there's an employee issue, and
Non-public.
that is going to be discussed in non-public, the employee has the right to request that be in public instead for
Not
their
talking
own
about
benefit.
employee.
If it's a resident, I do not believe that that person has any kind of obligation to be present if we are
No,
discussing.
not an obligation, but just the opportunity to.
I think it would depend on the topic at hand and what it was. For example, when we discuss like tax liens and things like that, those people are expressly
They're here, yeah.
invited because we have to talk to them face to face. There are certainly other times where there are reputational issues where the people are not invited or not present.
But is that a, I thought it was sort of like you have the, you know, the right to see your accuser or whatever. Is that something we could ask legal?
You'd have to probably give us a specific hypothetical that you're thinking about
or not
because
hypothetical.
Or
because
what?
if you have a particular issue that you're asking about, you know, maybe let us know that offline. I think obviously whenever we're talking about individuals, that it has the potential to be reputational, and we try to protect that as much as possible. And sometimes that's going to involve the person being present, and a lot of times it doesn't. It's not
Okay,
a court.
I
It's not a
thought,
court
yeah.
proceeding. It's just a board discussion.
I thought it was something that was required because I knew we had that at
The
the.
only one I know of is employee-based, that if an employee is going to have like a disciplinary discussion, they are allowed to request that to be in public rather than non-public.
Okay, I'd just like to clarify. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 6:10. And we'll move on to our discussion action items. And the first we have is Wayne to talk with us about the front end loader. And Wayne, I've got all your documents here. Do you want these to refer to? Let me bring them over to you. So in your packet, the select board has a payment plan chart from John Deere. And Wayne is going to talk to us about various quotes that he received for the front end loader.
Yeah, John Deere, we went up to see them because that's where we get our parts for our older tractors. Because we got that like 22 years ago. And we bought that brand new. The year we got that up there, the town bought that brand new. And we also got a plow and a wing for that tractor because, well, we only had 2 trucks and we were in the position that one of the trucks was gonna die and we had more roads coming. So instead of buying a truck, we bought the loader. And we got the plow and the wing for that. And we used that loader to plow snow and print out all the developments down 111A that we had. We had one guy take that and it was right close to the shed. So he would be able to get out there and knock them all out with that loader. So, and we use that loader a lot. That loader, we depend on that loader. And then we got more trucks, so then we ended up parking the loader and just using it. And we didn't use it as wing because it was faster with the trucks once we got the trucks. We got enough trucks to do that.
What do you use that loader for these days?
We use it for sand and salt, putting sand and salt load in it. We use it, our main thing, that's a handy thing to have when you got trees down in the road. It picks up any size tree. That loader worked perfect. But we had some bad storms. We did have some bad storms and we had trees all over the place. I can't remember, but I can tell you one that they had a big structure fire down Hampton, and all the fire departments on this end, all the trees are down 111A and out on 125 by the power lines. The roads were blocked off. We used that loader to public service got there, and we asked them if they, because we had so many trees all the way from up here all the way to Pine Road that was in the middle of the road and laying across the road, and we took that loader down through there so we could get all those fire trucks down. They took 27 to 101 to get to Hampton, and it worked perfect. They shut the power off and told us to go for it, so we did, and it worked out really good. It was pretty handy, and I mean we use it near every day. Whether we have something we can use that loader for.
And when that machine that's 22 years old, I know you had told me offline that you had tried multiple rounds of repairs. You went to the welder to get a piece welded.
Right, well.
And none of the repairs are seeming to fix it.
We took it apart and we went up to John Deere and told them what we needed. The valves that were in it, there's 8 valves in that loader. And the worst ones, there was 3. There was 3 of them that really looked bad, and we took all of them up there. Jeff took them all up there, but they picked those 3 that said you guys can replace those 3. Now those covers, they're round covers, go about this long, and they go right across. It goes one side to the other, and the pipes are all hooked on each side. And those covers, they told us right up front that some of them were rusted. Some of them were thin. The oil, I guess, going all through them things. I don't know. They were thin anyway, but they said they couldn't do anything for us for the covers because they don't make them no more.
Okay.
And to buy the whole unit, the cost was $14,000. They told us, and there was only one in the United States. So your chance of getting the right one for that loader was slim because they don't make it.
Because it's 22 years old.
So we tried.
Gotcha.
We saw. So anyways, we brought it back. We put it all back together, got it all back together, and Jeff got in it and tried to start it up, got it going. We let it run for a few minutes because to get the oil all in it and everything. And all of a sudden this thing popped. And it was actually it was the front valve, and it blew a hole right through it. So we said, oh, man, we're out of that one anyway right now. So he took it apart. He did take it apart again and pulled it out, and we welded it. And it kept leaking. It kept leaking, so it didn't really work. So we didn't know from that point on, and there was other ones in there, we didn't know whether it's gonna stay together or not. So I guess at this point, we better,
It sounds like it's at the end of its life.
we've had it enough, so. And according and listening to John Deere telling us that good luck getting the parts and trying to find the parts. So it sounds like they did, I think John Deere was gonna give us $20,000. They sent a guy down.
Yep, right
and-
here.
Yeah, it was $20,000, sent him down to look at our loader to see how much it was worth. He told us they'd give us $20,000, and what they're gonna do with it is they're gonna ship it overseas. I guess overseas, they got loaders over there that they can get parts, they get the parts overseas. So,
Okay.
I don't know.
So that was the original quote that you had brought us from
Right.
John Deere,
Well, he give us,
that they had either a new machine or one that had some use on it,
yeah,
right?
one has use, it's got 271 hours on it. And he said they'll give us a buy, and the buy for that loader was, he's allowing our $20,000. It was gonna be $148,400.
Mm-hmm.
And we got talking about it today down there, and I said that's don't seem like a bad buy, but Jeff working around the construction company before he was here, he was bouncing all over the place. He said that sounds good, but he said you don't know what they use it. They could have tipped it over. They could have did something could have happened to that tractor, and now they're bringing it back to he said he told me right out. He said if it was me, he said he would go for the new one. The new one, they're both the same tractor, for a 444 John Deere, and the new one with nothing is with the 20,000 in there is $179,900.
Yep.
And,
So the 200 plus hours of use, they dropped the price about 30,000.
30,000.
And what kind of use is that? Well, it was renting it out, or?
They rent it out.
Okay, yep.
The company comes and takes it.
Yep.
And they use it. They have it for a whole year, I think.
Okay.
And they rent it out, but now all of a sudden this company is turning it back in. And so they're gonna turn it back in. Now, he also told me that the valuation of the I lost my,
Of the one that you're trading in?
yeah.
Yeah.
The interest or something is a lot lower than what this 148.
Yeah, what we got from them, they gave us quotes for the used machine for a 3, 5, or 7-year lease, or the new machine for a 3, 5, or 7-year lease. And the interest is about a point lower for the new machine, but it ends up obviously being more expensive. 'Cause
More
it's a more
expensive, it
expensive.
is.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it would,
All right.
the interest would be a little bit less, but the
Okay.
total cost to the town would still be more with that new
okay, with
vehicle.
that.
So that's
Oh.
really the decision, is do we go for a new one, or do we go for the one that's used?
Okay.
If we go with John Deere. Can you talk with us about the other quotes that you got? I think most
yeah.
of them in general came in higher.
We got one here from Cat.
Yep,
Cat didn't tell us a whole lot, what, Jeff knew somebody up there and he called them. And they just sent down, they didn't even come down and look at the old one. They didn't give us a price or nothing. They just sent down what their, I think it, what is that? That is, total is $184,014
Okay,
for the cat. And that cat is
so just a little bit more than the new John Deere.
yeah.
Technically.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Less.
I got the,
Well, the new's 180 John Deere.
Sorry, what was the cost?
Well, it depends.
What
if
was the
they're-
cost of the cat?
The cat quote he has, you said 184,000, Wayne?
yeah,
That's without a trade.
Sorry, thank you.
yeah, that's no trade.
Do we know if they would do a trade-in?
Oh, no
No.
trade. No, they didn't, we told them, we asked them about
Yeah.
trading, and they didn't come down and look, and they didn't send us anything on a trade, so.
So
I
they
think
didn't
they were
indicate
gonna-
that they would be willing to do
Gonna
any kind of
do that
trade-in.
with us.
Okay.
With John Deere, do we have to buy their tractor for them to, or the trade offer?
I would assume so. I would assume that them paying us $20,000 for the old one is
Trade in.
a trade-in deal.
Yeah,
to buy a new
they'll,
one.
what they told me when we got ready to do this, there's some other paper that, it's like an agreement thing.
Yeah,
And they'll come in and do the agreement. That's with the $20,000
yep.
that the whole thing.
Did
That price you get us right here is,
Yeah.
well, this is for the tractor that's got 271 hours on it.
Did any of the other companies offer to do a trade-in?
Yes, Volvo did.
Volvo did? Okay.
Volvo.
Can you tell us
I
that
think-
quote?
I think Volvo, they offered us 30.
Okay.
How much was their new one?
I don't really know. Yeah. I think it's a trade here. Yeah, right here. They offered, for our John Deere, 2002 John Deere F 544H, they offered us 30,000, and they offered us the Volvo tractor, and that is a Volvo L60H2, and I believe he had a picture in here of that.
And what did they quote you for price for that one, Wayne?
$182,028.
That's with or without the 30 subtracted?
That's with the 30.
With the 30
Yep.
subtracted out?
Yep.
182?
Oh, so that's pretty similar to the $3,000 more.
Yeah, pretty similar to the John Deere. And then I think you had at least one or two more Chapel tractor, right?
Yep, John Deere here, that one, these two.
I think that was the one he just did before this one.
And we got, Chapel tractor,
No, that was Cat.
Jen, can we maybe put this off for a week and get a copy of all these so we can just
Sure, would you guys rather see them yourselves?
look through them?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, for example, this has a warranty of the Volvo.
Yeah.
5 years and 2,000 hours, so I don't know if there's like a.
Yeah, so if everyone wants to just look through all of them, maybe we can scan them all and
Yeah,
everybody can review
that's
them
what
by
I
email.
do, if I was you guys.
Yeah.
Is just go over them and look at, if you guys have any questions at all, every one of them said, give them a call. They left
Mm-hmm. Okay.
a card.
Perfect,
Chapel left their card in
Okay.
here, just
Perfect.
call Alex.
great.
For their loaders.
Do
and
you-
he'll
Do
talk
you
to
have any strong preference, or would you be willing to go with any of these if the board approves it?
Hey, whatever's,
You'll go with it,
we'd like to stay with John Deere.
Yep.
But
if there's a better
it's
option, you're
situation,
flexible.
money and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You go with what you can get.
Yes, great.
Does
No,
any one of
I'm-
them have a bad reputation?
Not that I know of. Like, Chapel tractor, the tractors that they have here, we don't have them around here, so we don't know a whole lot about them. Not saying they're not good or nothing like that, but we don't know much about them.
Mhm.
What he's got. The Volvo, we don't know. The only one that knew a little bit about the Volvo was Micah, because he drove one when he worked for the company he worked for. They got a Volvo, and he told me today that on Volvos they've upgraded them a lot, and some of the big companies are using them now. They're bringing them in, real big companies, and
Okay.
they use them.
Can I have just a preliminary question, putting aside the numbers for a moment, getting back to the need. So I just want to understand, and I want the residents to understand, the need. I mean, like, for example, in this last storm, you got through okay, right? I mean, is there a real?
The need, I can tell you pretty much straight out, it's no different than when we bought the loader that's broken down. They back 22 years, we was in the same boat. If you not having much money and everything. But what we did there, we went around and we looked at all the loaders, just like we did here. We come back and John Deere had the best price for it. And when we went up there to get it, they went by a payment thing.
Yeah,
And
I think,
we
Wayne, I think
settled-
what he's asking is, like, can you give us some examples in like the past 6 months when the machine was working? You mentioned clearing trees, you mentioned loading your trucks. What other stuff do you
We
use it
for
for?
everything.
Okay.
We use it for everything.
Do you use it for like road
Not
repair?
many days that we don't use that loader. And right now,
But when you don't use the loader, are you able to, get by? Are you able to do what you need to do with the
we
other?
use it with the backhoe.
With the other
But
equipment?
my thing is, you never know when you're gonna run up against something pretty big. You know what I mean? You get some big trees down, that backhoe isn't gonna do it. We ain't, do it as fast as we can. I mean, with everything that we have, everything we have to do with that loader, for one big thing here that what I worry about, if you get a bad accident out there with a tractor trailer truck or something like that, we got that loader to get out there and help whatever we gotta do, pick that truck up and do anything. Right now, we don't have anything here big enough to really do that. I mean, we haven't really had one, but you never know. With all this traffic that we got going through here in this town, that's one big thing that's on my mind a lot. And we know that loader will do. That's why we're trying to stick with almost the same size. But with the loader from John Deere, ours is a 544. This is one step down. It's a 444, but it has about the same kind of bucket on that tractor that we got on ours. Plus, they updated the running part of them now, and it's
I guess,
almost equal.
like from 20 years ago, I mean, you've gotten a lot more equipment in your fleet. So I guess the question is, do we need this loader
No, we
today,
have,
given?
we only got the backhoe. That's the only thing we can rely on right now is that backhoe. But that backhoe is also got some years on it. So.
How many years?
It's, let's see, the loader, I think, was a 2003, and I think it's the same year as
So
that.
it's equally as old?
Yeah. And that's one thing.
Didn't we buy a new backhoe a few years ago?
No, it's been quite a few years we've had this one.
Maybe 10?
We did buy one. We did buy one way back. We traded it and got this one here. But I want to say it's a 2003 or 2004 or something like that. The backhoe that we have now.
Hey, Wayne, when we're reviewing this, can you just provide us like a list of, your fleet so we have an
Yep.
inventory?
Yeah, I can do that.
Maybe the years on what the fleet is?
Yeah,
That would be great.
yeah, I can do that.
So if you can get that information to us, and then if you can get all of those quotes to Jillian or Andrea, they can
Yeah.
scan them and upload them to everybody so we can review.
Yeah, and years and maybe mileage as well?
Yeah, I'll get the hours.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hours,
we,
okay.
we get the hours on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sounds
Yeah.
good. And then just for the board purposes, we will need to act on this fairly quickly because if we're going to fund this through a warrant, we need to decide this in the near future to be able to get the warrant before us in BudCom for approval. So we need to discuss this
fine.
next
I
week
mean,
if
you gotta-
possible.
Do what you gotta
Okay.
do to, well,
Perfect.
make,
Thanks, Wayne. So if you can get us that information
Okay.
before next week, we'll try to make some decisions for you.
okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you. All right. So we're going to move on. I'll just let Wayne clean up his stuff there. The next thing on our agenda is police mental health policy and contract. The initial parts of the discussion about this took place in non-public, and we're ready to move it out to public for voting and discussion. So Lieutenant Doty had brought to us his desire to implement a policy at the Brentwood Police Department for mental health and wellness, the purpose of which is to provide periodic, preventative, and responsive mental health and wellness services to police members. And so he has in front of us, and you have in your packet, a draft policy that would implement these new policies. It would include an annual mental health and wellness consultation that would be required for all of our police officers. And then it would offer things like post-incident debriefings and other types of support for mental health concerns, stress-related concerns, et cetera. And he had a contact with Seeds for Change Counseling, Wendy Rowe, who is a veteran and has a lot of experience both with veterans' mental health and police mental health. And so the two things that we have in front of us tonight for discussion and potential action are the policy and the Seeds for Change Counseling Agreement that it would be signed by the lieutenant, but the board would need to authorize moving forward with that. So I'm happy to open that up for discussion to the board.
I think any conversation about the policy needs to happen in non-public. The contract we can do in.
Okay, sounds good.
And I also, on the policy, think we should have a week to review it.
Sure. Do you want to bump both of these then? Because I think the policy goes hand in hand with the contract.
Did
So I
you say
just
it
wait
needed
till
to be
next
in
week.
non-public? I missed
Yeah.
what you said, Andy.
Police policy is a non-public because of operational matters.
Okay. What aspect of non-public does that fall under? You know?
Personnel?
I don't think it's personnel. Potentially, I don't know if it's under consideration of matters relating to preparation of emergency functions.
Sure.
Potentially developed by local or state safety officials.
I think some policies probably fall under that, but I don't know if this one does. I haven't read it all the way.
Yeah, I'm just,
We're also talking about health policy. that-
yep. Andrea, do you have any opinions on
I have it
No.
in front of me, but yeah. I
In
don't know
terms
what
of
would fall
police
under,
policies?
Yeah, health.
Because I understand what you're saying, Andy, but I'm just not really sure which area it would fall under. A is really for dismissal, promotion, compensation, or disciplining of public employees, so it would not be under that. It's not hiring. It's not reputational. It's not real estate,
Oh, Could be reputational because it's mental health.
but we're not talking about any
Individual
individual.
employee.
And the emergency preparation one says those are to discuss policies that are directly intended to thwart a deliberate act that is intended to result in widespread or severe damage to property or widespread injury or loss of life. So I don't think it really falls under that. So I'm not sure that that actually falls under a non-public category. Just as the one who's been taking the non-public notes, because I
You're
have it in
very
front of
familiar
me.
with all those
I have it in
letters?
front of me every single week, so I am getting
Yes, you
very
do.
familiar with all the categories. So I I do hear you, though, that if the board needs time to review this, that is absolutely fine, because we kind of threw together today's agenda quickly with the holiday weekend. So if we want to bump it to next week, I'm sure the lieutenant would be more than happy to have us do that. But my inclination would be that this would need to be discussed in public.
Well, if
Does
we bump
everyone-
it a week, then we can confirm
We
whether
sure
it needs to
can.
be public or non-public.
We can definitely confirm that. So am I hearing a general consensus to bump this? Okay. Let's do that. And I'd like to thank the lieutenant for bringing this forward. He also brought forward to us a volunteer that's interested in helping out the police officer in the capacity of a volunteer chaplain. So we could review and discuss accepting that volunteer opportunity next week as well. Okay, good. All right, next we have a new drug testing contract. This was necessary because of the imminent or maybe already closure of the Exeter Hospital Occupational Health Services. And we do have certain employees who are mandated to have drug testing either at the time of hire or otherwise. And so Katerina from Over in Fire had started a relationship with On-Site Drug Testing of New England. We've already, it looks like, used them for a couple of employees that needed some testing just, I think, last week. And so we do have an agreement. I think these are just 2 copies of the exact same thing, if I'm seeing this correctly. But this is a company that is out of Concord. And looks like they bill every 30 days to invoice us for any tests that we send to them. So I'm happy to send this contract around if people want to take a peek at it. But it looks like probably this would be signed by myself as chair. It has a signature line there.
I believe they also have an office in Newmarket.
Could be. Is this a company you're familiar with at all?
Just in discussing with Katerina
Katerina.
about this company worked for both Portsmouth Regional and Elliott.
Gotcha.
I believe we're gonna use Elliott as our Center for Occupational Health.
So this would,
And they
jive with
just,
that.
yeah, and then they were able to do the DOT random drug testing, and then any of our other needs.
gotcha. Is this a contract that you feel should go through legal and or Primex? Or, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward service contract. We don't always put all of them through a legal review.
Paul's given it a once over, and
Yeah, I mean, it does provide with indemnification. so
Yeah, I saw that
there's
on there.
It has like an automatic trigger as well for renewal, so that's something that needs to be tracked.
Do you have other thoughts on this, Paul?
At the moment, I'd like to look a little more closely at the indemnification clause.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. I'll give you a second, then if we don't feel comfortable acting on this tonight, we can bump this as well. These are all things that have just kind of come in recently that need action.
Did you say we're already using them?
We had 2 tests come in, so I don't know if we just sort of did it as a one-off. I don't know, but I did see 2 results from this company, yes. Maybe on the presumption that we were going to sign this?
we had to register all our DOT employees
Mhm.
by a certain, I think it was the
was
first
a
week in
cutoff.
January.
Oh, sure, for the
So-
random.
We had to use them.
It looks like it's a two-way indemnification, so the provider, would indemnify for its negligent or intentional or illegal acts, and we would indemnify for ours, so that satisfies me.
Okay. It's like
Motion.
having a lawyer on the board.
know.
It's handy having a lawyer on the board.
Motion.
So we have a motion from Andy to sign this contract
Second.
for on-site drug testing of New England. Do we have a second? Letty has a second. We'll take a roll call vote. Any further discussion first? Okay, roll call vote. Andy?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Letty,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, so we'll go ahead, I'll sign here.
I would just track the date on that, Andrea, for the renewal.
And again, I'd just like to thank Katerina and Lieutenant Dottie for working on this.
Yes, this was one of sort of the fallouts of Exeter Hospital changes, is us needing to find a new way to do this. Thank you. All right, I signed this. I'm just gonna hand this back to you if you don't mind. Fill out the rest of it. All right, thank you. Next, we have a removal of ZBA member. So this board has discussed in non-public this issue already, and tonight is going to serve as the public hearing of this issue. We have a ZBA member that we had received some information about 2 recent episodes where this member behaved both at a meeting and outside of a meeting in a way that was considered by the board to be unprofessional and unhelpful to the town. And the board had discussed in public our inclination to remove this member from the ZBA. I did contact this member by email several days ago, but have not heard back from that member. But that member was notified that this was being discussed tonight on our agenda. And so that member is Jack Garber, and I would open any comments from the board. I don't think we need to get into a lot of details that we discussed in non-public for reputational reasons.
Can I make a motion?
You can. I just want to see if anyone on the board wants to say anything further on that topic. There is a Chapter 32 under municipal budget law. Section 32.7 does allow, oh, that's not the right one. It's in my email. The other one, it's not that chapter. That's on the appropriations, which is something different that we were talking about. So there is a chapter under ZBA that has the specific wording about removing a member, and does indicate that after a public hearing that the member does need to be notified in writing of their removal. And so that is the process that we will follow here per New Hampshire RSA.
And just to confirm, there hasn't been any response to
There was
your
no
outreach?
response.
Okay.
Nope. Any further discussion?
I think if it's a hearing, we have to ask for public comment too.
Okay, I'm happy to do that. If anyone wants to make any public comment on this, you're welcome. Come up to the microphone.
No,
please.
you have to come up.
No, just come up to the microphone, Doug, so that we can hear you. So we can hear you on there.
And
Doug
your
Finning, Go Road. You made mention that you made contact or reached out to him via email.
Correct.
Any confirmation by the email that he did? in
No,
fact,
so, no, there isn't. So, we gave an opportunity. We use the town email, which is what all town employees and committee members use. So this is the process. We did have to do this tonight because there is a ZBA meeting before our next select board meeting. So
I
we
just
didn't
didn't
have
know if it
additional
had to
time.
be certified just to make sure they are.
I don't
aware.
believe so, no. We just did a courtesy notification.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. I think I heard a motion
I made a motion.
from Letty. Okay.
Second.
Any further comment? Okay, so there's a motion for the removal of Jack Arbor from ZBA, and we'll take a roll call vote. Andy?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So that will pass, and he will be notified in writing. And we are always looking for people. ZBA traditionally has been a board that's been a little bit hard for us to get a good, strong quorum on. So if there is anybody out there who is interested, please let us know.
Do you think we may want to send that certified or
We can certainly do that.
have the PD deliver it, one of the two?
We can do that. Absolutely. All right, so moving on to regular business and committee updates, we will start with Andy.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Actually, I do have a question. It's been a long, Wayne's here in the audience, it's been a long question of who's responsible for shoveling town offices.
I saw you out there shoveling yesterday,
yes.
Andy.
But, so, Wayne, did we ever come down to who's responsible for opening up?
We've done it.
Jillian's raising her hand.
It used to be Jason from Rec,
Okay.
but he is in school now, so we actually do not have anyone.
Okay.
Andy went over and shoveled the wreck today.
How did Jason get that job? He just volunteered, maybe? Or he was voluntold?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Historically, over the years, I mean, I know way
It's-
back we had a
it's always
maintenance
been an issue.
person, right? Sometime in the past, we had a maintenance person at one
yeah,
point,
7
way
Yes.
back.
years ago.
Yeah. So it's always been
It's always been an issue.
I think Wayne is volunteering.
yeah, if someone from Highway can help us out with that, that would be great.
I don't think
Or-
during the storm the issue is, but like right now, I think all the fire doors are locked.
Okay. So it's a safety issue.
I'll go out the window.
Thanks, Wade.
Okay. Okay, great. Any other board business?
Nope.
Okay.
Is someone going to discuss the ALS meeting from the other night?
I think we can. Yeah, I can discuss that when it comes back around to me. Okay. John?
No, I don't have anything now. Thanks.
Okay. Paul?
Let you discuss the
Okay.
ALS. Great.
Okay. Letty?
Nope, just want to remind all department heads and committee chairs that your write-up for the town report is due on Friday.
Great. Thank you. Okay. For me, we have a BudCom meeting next Monday, I believe, and then we have another one on February 3rd. Let me just pull up my email to make sure I am giving the correct dates. We are having those to make sure that we can talk about warrants, et cetera. So yes, January 27th here at 6 p.m. we'll have a BudCom meeting. Then likely we'll have one on February 3rd, and then the public hearing is on the 10th. So there's 3 more sessions that are planned for BudCom. In terms of a general announcement, I'd like to remind anybody interested in running for a town or school position that sign-up period opens tomorrow on the 22nd and runs through next Friday, the 31st. So anyone interested in running for an open position, please see the town clerk's office for that. And then in terms of ALS, as Paul mentioned, I think everybody knows that Exeter Hospital's ALS Intercept program is going to phase out in March of this year. And our chief, Joe Bird, as well as multiple other chiefs in the area, really spearheaded by the Plastow chief, have been working really hard to get something up and running for the rest of 2025 to allow that life-saving service to continue. They, all of us are very lucky in that based on conversations with Exeter Hospital, Beth Israel Lahey Health, and the local municipalities, as well as our executive counselor, we were able to get funding for the first year of the program, partly based on the fact that most town budgets are already set. And so trying to budget for funding of this program at the 11th hour would have been extremely difficult. So this program is likely to be fully funded for the first year. And then as that year plays out, there will be discussions with all the member towns about what funding that program will look like going forward. I think everybody knows that Brentwood is being viewed possibly and likely as a central town that might house those workers. And so we anticipate in the next couple of weeks to have Chief Bird coming to us with both a contract to join into this multi-town ALS program for the next year and possibly an agreement to at least temporarily house those ALS workers at our fire station for 1 year during the preliminary period. So I think Andy and Paul and I all went to a meeting, was it last week? Was that just last week?
Yep.
Seems like a long time ago. Just last week, where it was select board members, town administrators, finance people from all the various towns there. And I would say, speaking for myself, and I think for these two as well, that we were very impressed with all the very hard work that group has done and really give the Plastow chief, Knutson, a lot of credit for how hard everybody's worked to try to get this program to persist in the community. So we're excited about that, and Chief Bird will be bringing that back to us when there's something that's ready for us to vote and approve. Was that a good summary?
That was fantastic.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Good. I
And,
did
and it's a
good
great opportunity, I think, for the town to be part of this consortium. And it gives us a year in terms of being able to be part of it as it's been in terms of cost and then moving forward. My sense is that, with many towns sharing the burden, it will be something that should ultimately be reasonable. We'll see. I don't know that, but I thought it was interesting because there are other kinds of services that it makes you think, if we join together, and there's provision under the statute apparently, which I learned about, to do that as a, I don't know if consortium is the right word, or a cooperative.
Sort of a regional programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's something to think about for other services, as well.
Yep. And I think for the benefit of the board members that weren't there, one point that they stressed is that the Intercept program itself, so when you have a paramedic that assists you with a transport, because Brentwood has an ambulance service, we do the billing. And so the Intercept program does not directly bill for their services. Brentwood bills for their services, so that any eventual monetary contract that we enter into with this cooperative program does have offsetting revenues. And so that will help as we get to the point of discussing how all the various towns are going to share the cost of this program. So I think there's a lot more to come, but I'm happy to hear that there is grant support for the first year of this program with no cost to Brentwood town taxpayers.
And to the extent that we would have the Intercept right here in Brentwood and,
Right.
And know that within a matter of minutes, if something happened to one of us, that they would be there. I mean,
Yeah,
that-
Brentwood's
that
pretty
may be-
central in
yeah.
the 13-town area, and so is a good, we kind of are lucky to be sort of smack in the middle of that area.
Yeah, it's, some of the older guys out there in the audience that should make you feel good.
No, not point, Paul's not pointing fingers at anybody, I mean, I'm assuming. Ah, Paul, you're not, he's not up for reelection though, so it's okay.
That's all right.
It's all right.
I'm in the group, so.
All right. So yeah, we're very, very thankful for that group and how quickly, I mean, they got notice that this program was going away in September, and it's now January, and they're basically ready to rock with this new regional program. So the fact that they pulled this off in 3 to 4 months is extremely impressive. And we really thank the Plastow chief for all the amazing work that he's done on this, and our chief as well for being part of that group of chiefs. Great, thank you. Jillian or Andrea, did you guys have any regular business? I don't think you had mentioned any. Okay, all right. So we had a discussion about going into non-public for hiring. Was there any other non-public requests for tonight? Nope.
Janice put her hand up a couple times. I don't know if she's got.
Janice, did you have something?
Oh, you never talked about the encumbrances.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on talking about
Oh,
that
okay.
tonight because we're still getting all those
Oh, okay.
answers dotted and I's dotted and T's crossed.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with that. I'm speaking from strictly informational purposes as your town librarian. There's a lot of legislation, as I'm sure you're aware, going on right now. And there is one that affects all of our potential boards and committees. And I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of it. And that is House Bill 562. So maybe something just to take a look at.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Is that the one about remote appearances?
No, it actually has to do with filling vacancies
It's about filling vacancies on committees.
on boards.
Okay. Okay. Is there one about remote attendance too that's up for? Okay. There's usually multiple that come up every legislative session. Okay.
I keep getting these updates. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's appropriate.
I think that would be really helpful if if you come across something that you think the select board needs to know about, just send it to the town administrator or send it to us, just as an FYI, because we're not always hearing that right away. So certainly let us know. Okay, thank you. Any other regular board business before we go into non-public for hiring? Okay, I'll take a motion for that.
Moved.
That's under 91AB.
Second.
And we'll take a roll call vote. Andy?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so we'll go into non-public at 6:55. Thank you to our audience, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
I should have announced like what your favorite type of candy was or something, or your favorite treat.